I'm Ken from the 7-5 documentary, and I'm chatting with Stacks.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Stacks. I'm your host, Bill Stacks, and today I got Ken Eurell.
So I just put my hands on the wall right away because I got a gun on me. I don't want to get shot. They come in, they pull my gun out, they grab my the kid who's a dealer, and this kid, we got arrested in May 6th. And in New York, it's still cold May 6th, and it was 10 o'clock at night. He was fucking dripping wet. When I say dripping wet, like he came out of a fucking swimming pool. So he knew the fucking raid was coming, and he had all this anxiety and fucking everything built up. You know, it is what it is.
So before all this happens, were there any close calls with drugs or money where you almost got caught? Like red-handed, either stealing money or drugs, or have you ever been pulled over? Did they ever search the car and try to find things?
None of that, not while we were on duty, but we were doing an off-duty raid of this old guy who was a heroin dealer, sold heroin in the 7-5 for years. My partner's like, I seen him on that corner for fucking 10 years selling heroin. He's got a load of money. So for, I'd say probably 2-3 weeks, we're trying to nail down his location, watch his moves, find out where he lives, and find out where his stash house is. But he lives outside the precinct. So we enlisted these 2 ex-cops who were off the job to follow him around and nail down his location. We find out he lives in Queens, and we plan a raid on his house. Again, we're in one of the guy's cars who looks like an off-duty, undercover police car in a precinct in Queens. This is not our own precinct now. And we have point-to-point radios that we're using, and we're using a scanner to listen to the local precinct. So it's the 4 of us. The 2 ex-cops are in the back. They're going to go in to do the raid. And my partner is in the passenger seat, and I'm driving the car. So we get to the block, and here's a scooter cop on the block. He's alternate side of the street parking in Queens. So he's ticketing every motherfucking car on the street. I'm like, guy, we got to wait till he goes. So I pull around the corner, wait 5 minutes or so, come back around. Is still there. God damn it. Go away, wait again, pull around, still there. 3rd time I come around, this guy's still on the block. So now, of course, he notices us. So he hits his little fucking scooter light fucking siren, and he comes up behind us. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And everyone's like, oh, fuck. And I pull over right away. And now I'm on the job. So I got my tin, and I got it around my neck. My partner's got his tin around his neck, but they're inside our shirts. These other 2 guys aren't even fucking cops anymore. So he comes up to the window. I got the window down already. And he goes, can I help you guys? What? I see you keep circling the block. Are you looking for something? And I pulled my tin out from my shirt. I go, yeah, we're on the job. We're undercover narcotics. We're waiting to pull a warrant. My boss over here is waiting for you to leave so you don't tip them off. He's like, oh, okay. And he jumps back in and fucking drives away, man. That's it. And we go in and we pull the raid.
So do you feel like your badge pretty much gave you a license to do anything you wanted?
At that time, yeah, definitely, without a doubt. I mean, you're bullshitting other guys on the job. You just fucking tell them, hey, we're on the job. And, thankfully I had the right answer. We're waiting to do a warrant, it was basically true because I drew up a fake warrant. So
you had a paper and everything?
I made a fake warrant. My partner had it over in his hand. I went down to Brooklyn Central booking on an arrest one night, and we knew we were doing this thing. So I drew up a fake warrant. It was basically an affidavit, but I made it look like a warrant with the guy's name, the address where he lived. So in case anybody was at the house at the time, we could present it to them.
Wow. That's insane. You guys went to those lengths.
And of course, on the back of the car, we don't have a real plate. We got a temporary plate that we pulled off some car in the precinct. You're not driving around with your own plate. God forbid the kid would have wrote it down.
Yeah. Or if that cop would have called in the license plate.
That's what I'm talking about. The kid. I call him a kid.
Bad. So you get caught in this raid.
Right.
You,
Out on Long Island.
you're like kind of shocked. Are you shocked, or are you like, here's the day?
To be honest, I didn't know the extent of it. I thought it was just a raid on a local drug dealer's house. And when I got down to Suffolk County Central Booking out in Riverhead, I'm in the precinct, and at that point, it was only myself, the drug dealer, and a couple of users that was in his living room that were there, because they're pulling simultaneous raids. They grabbed my partner, and his current partner also got caught up in this, because when my partner left me, he hooked up with another guy, and that guy became corrupt also. So they're pulling raids on them in the 9-4 precinct. These other two cops that I was working with that got me into the drug dealing, they worked in the 7-3 precinct. They got arrested in the 7-3 precinct. None of them were at Riverhead yet, because they're out in Brooklyn. So it's taking longer for them to come out. I'm in Bayshore when I got arrested. So I get there, and, I try to play the fucking cop card. I go, I'm retired from the job. Can I, get a summons for loitering at this guy's house? And the intake officer didn't know the extent of it either. So he goes to the ADA that was there. There was an ADA handling the case, and she had a fucking stack of folders. And on top, she has my folder, and it's opened. And I see a picture of me from when I was applying to the job. Basically my applicant picture. It was a picture when I was 18 years old. And I'm like, oh, fuck, why does she have that picture? This is way more than a local drug raid. And as I'm there, and she basically laughed and told him no. And then the intake officer came back to me and was like, yeah, no, they're not giving you a loitering summons. And then as I'm there, all these other characters start coming in. Dowd and his new partner get called in. The other two ex-cops get called in. They are brought in. There were over, I think it was 53 people that were arrested in this raid. So
then what you see all these people coming in.
I know it's a fucking big scandal. Yeah, now I know it's bad.
Do they bring you to court right away? Do they hold you in the cell?
They put us all. Well, they put the cops in his private cell, and then the civilians they just threw in the fucking regular gallery. But as they were doing the paperwork, we were all together in one intake room. It's like a big lunchroom. So
you and Dowd have a conversation then?
We all had, there was 6 of us. It was Dowd and his partner, the 2 guys from the 7-3. No, it was 4 guys from the 7-3. Sorry, 4 guys from the 7-3. 2 of them weren't as involved as the 2 guys I was dealing with, but they were dirty on the job in the 7-3. Great, they were basically doing shit that we were doing on a lower scale. So it was 4 of them, Dowd and his partner. So that's 6, and myself, 7 cops. And they throw me in with the cops. So, and then we all had a conversation. What do you think this is about? And we all knew what it was about. We all knew we were dirty. We just didn't know how it came about yet. We didn't know that this one kid got popped like 2-3 months. It was May, so it was 5 months, because they put a pen register on my phone back in January. And then from the pen register is basically, they take all, it's not a wiretap, they take all the numbers of who you're calling and who's calling you, and then they start issuing wiretap warrants from there of what's relevant and what's not relevant. And then they got onto my phone probably a month later in February, and everybody's phone got wiretapped. So it was a 5-month investigation for Suffolk County. And eventually Suffolk County, when they found out, this is funny too, when they found out cops were involved, Suffolk County now knows, it's not just local drug dealers. They got to call the NYPD and get internal affairs involved. So one point, I had told my drug dealer, look, you got a good customer base. I've got a good customer base. I'm going to give you my customers, and you're basically in business. You're selling everything. I'm going to give you my connections. And that's why he wasn't able to get a sale on me too. Months prior, I gave him my business. I turned everything over to him, and I just collected money from him every week. I had told him, you got your customer base. I'm giving you my entire customer base. I'm giving you my connect where I get the drugs from. You just turn over cash to me every week for this. I told him, you have all these customers. I'm giving you customers. If you feel the need to take on a new customer, don't sell them. Give me their information and I'll fucking run their plate. I'll run their fucking name, their address, make sure they're not an undercover cop, because that does happen.
Yeah.
I go to his house to collect money, probably, I don't know, it was probably February sometime. This is how they got my phone. Probably February sometime. And he goes, oh, here's a license plate and the name of a guy that I'm going to sell to. I'm like, did you sell to him yet? And the motherfucker already sold to him. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I said, don't sell until I can run this. So while I'm in his fucking house, I picked up his phone, which is already tapped. His phone's already tapped. And I call the fucking precinct. And I have connections at
from
the precinct.
His phone? From his phone?
Yeah. I go, bro, hey, how you doing? This is Eurell. I used to work there. Can you run a plate and a name for me? So the guy's, yeah, of course, no problem. I remember you. And he runs it, and it comes back to a fucking P.O. box. So I know it's a fucking undercover cop. And the name doesn't come back to the same name that he's using with my friend. So a regular fucking kid who's buying drugs, he's going to buy with his real name, and his fucking car is not going to come back to a P.O. box. It's going to come back to his house, his mom's house, his grandma's house, whatever. They're not wasting money on a P.O. box. So like, dude, and this is how when they raided my house, there was nothing there no more. Because I know eventually this is going to get popular. It was like, you sold to a fucking cop, asshole. He's like, no, he's not a cop. I was like, okay, whatever. And I cleaned out everything, got everything out. And I was just basically, by the time May comes around, I'm just picking up money, which I'm dumb enough to think that's not going to get me in trouble. But obviously, it does.
So they have you on tape calling the police department to run this name?
Yep.
Did you ever hear it?
On his phone, because his phone's tapped. They got me calling the Brooklyn precinct, running it undercover. So I think there's, because I kept all the news articles, all scrap papers and all that shit. There's a story somewhere in one of the articles how they were freaking out. Holy shit, this fucking guy got to be a cop. He's calling a precinct, running undercover's plate. They were like in a panic. And that's how they got internal affairs involved.
Now, there was an investigation into Dowd and all this that they were trying to bring against him.
Yeah, there were multiple investigations.
How was he able to get away from those?
Because he bet that there was already a scandal in the 7-7, he fucking rolled the dice that they didn't want to expose another scandal. So every time something came up with him, they sent out the internal affairs officer, and when he came back with information, they fucked his investigation. They basically shut him down each time. They want to give him more stuff. They want to let him get phone taps. They want to, they want to let him do anything. They kept shutting him down. But now Suffolk County came to them. Now they can't tell Suffolk County, fuck you. There's other cops involved, and internal affairs jumps in. They don't want to have egg on their face, which basically they end up having egg on their face because there's 6 New York cops and 1 retired cop involved in this big drug scandal.
Yeah, so if you never got involved with the drugs and selling the drugs, do you think you would have been caught?
Eventually, he was still doing shit with his partner in the new precinct. One of them might have got popped, and then it would have all came back anyway. So, he was only on the job at that time 10 years. So he had another 10 years to try to stay clean.
Yeah, that was a good happen.
It probably wouldn't have happened. And
he's driving around in a red Corvette, right?
That's the other dude. That was another major fucking contention. After we, started making, we got the big bulk 24,000 in one sit, and then we're getting 8,000 a week. He fucking goes to a Chevy dealership and buys a fucking brand new 1987 red Corvette, white top with fucking cash. Comes to my house one day. He goes, hey, come out to the driveway. Him and his wife come to my house and goes, hey, come out to the driveway. And there's a fucking brand. I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you doing, man? You can't have a fucking, we don't make that much money where you can have a brand new fucking Corvette. Here I am driving a fucking 1983 Chevette, and you're fucking driving a brand new Corvette. And I go, at least don't take it to the precinct. Don't fucking expose us more. Oh, no, I would never take it. Next motherfucking day, he had it at the precinct, and not only parking on the side, parking a block away. And he parking it in a fucking sergeant's spot.